Happy Thanksgiving, Boomer fans! For this very special holiday episode, as we gather around with our friends and our family, and we celebrate those who came before, we decided that on this channel, we're going to do things a little bit differently this year for our fans at home. We're going to instead focus away from pilgrims and pumpkins and pie. And instead here, we're going to share a little bit of indigenous history of the Muscogee people that originated here in central Georgia, but unfortunately were relocated during the Trail of Tears to Oklahoma by the U.S. government. And we may cover that in a later episode. There's a lot of history with the area and the mounds and everything. And you may see some of that footage in our video today, but we will kind of go back to that and see that at a later date. But today we're going to focus on a very special ceremony called the Green Corn Ceremony that focuses kind of around Muscogee. In a way, it's sort of like Thanksgiving, but we'll get into that. So sit back with some turkey and some fixins as we honor the Muscogee people by today exploring the Green Corn Ceremony here on Gaming with Boomers. Now, the Green Corn Ceremony, also known as the busk, comes from the Creek word bosquita, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering any names here, was the most important of the many annual traditional ceremonies that were performed by Muscogee tribes here in the southeast, especially here in Georgia. It is likely that most indigenous groups in this particular region, especially here in Georgia, practiced a version of this celebration. It was usually held between midsummer, when the early corn began to ripen. The annual renewal ceremony generally lasted between 4 and 8 days. It included fasting as one of the major rituals that was involved. It also included feasting, acts of social and material renewal, also played a really important role. In fact, as anthropologist Charles Hudson pointed out, the modern American equivalent would have to combine Thanksgiving, New Year's Day, Yom Kippur, Lent, and Mardi Gras to have a holiday that kind of was on the same level as the Green Corn Ceremony. Kind of adding all of those particular elements gave one kind of a similarity to it. Now, this ceremony may be related to the Muscogee religious pantheon, as it possibly relates to the Muscogee legend regarding the corn goddess Uviche. And again, if I mispronounce names, I apologize. Let's get into it. So the corn goddess of the Muscogee Creek people, Uviche, created corn, beans, and worm seed by scratching flesh from her body. Now, she was the daughter of the sun god, and when she was an adult, he went on to impregnate her with a child of her own. Uviche gave birth to a large clot of blood, which she kept in a pot, and it later kind of congealed within a few days into a boy. This is her son, who became the hunting god Fietu. He was incredibly successful at shooting game with his bow and arrows. He's a fine hunter, obviously. He's a god of hunting. And provided their table with plenty of meat, in addition to the corn and beans that she produced. And I think about that kind of symbiotic relationship between hunting and gathering. Now, the corn goddess and her child, they lived in the realm of the gods on the outer side of the mountains, which formed the spine of the world. Sort of like the spiritual world and the earthly realm. Now, as he grew into a man, Fietu grew into a man, she was always warned him to never climb the mountains to peek over. Stay on your own side. Don't look down in the land of the mortals. But after reaching manhood, Fietu disobeyed this command, and catching sight of how beautiful mortal women were, the hunting god told his mother, Uviche, that the time had come for him to leave her and seek a wife among humans. Now, this greatly saddened her, so she made her son a headdress made of blue jay feathers and a flute that could summon any and all animals, including snakes. She told Fietu to marry the first woman who cooked food for him and to make the world safe for his wife and her people by hunting down and eliminating monsters that preyed upon them. So, like, honor thy wife by protecting her from harm and her people by extension. So this ends up being humanity. After he had done so, he has to return to make after he made his world safe for his wife. he returned to his mother's home in the land of the gods to receive like a final gift from her. Talk about homecoming. So years later, as instructed by his mother, the hunting god returned to the home only to find nothing except these enormous fields of corn and beans. So no money, but he had plenty of sustenance. He then collected as much as he could and then took these gifts back to humans as the eternal gift from his mother. So whether this legend directly influenced the important celebration here it's really unknown. But the spirit of the legend, if you really understand it, speaks to the importance of harvest and community and family that we as non-indigenous people can share in common with it. So, thank you for watching, dear viewers, this awesome Thanksgiving episode. We hope that you enjoyed this journey with us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment your favorite part from either the legend or from the history behind it, or one of your own cultural Thanksgiving traditions from today's episode. So, from everyone here at Gaming with Boomers, we just want to wish you a very happy and safe Thanksgiving. So, eat some turkey for us. See you next time.